I'm from Pleasant Grove, actually, but
Okay.
my wife is from Lehi. So growing up in Pleasant Grove, my father was a police officer there for 37 years for Pleasant Grove City.
Wow.
And so just growing up and having admiration for him and seeing how he interacted in the community and the good that he did, I grew up and decided I wanted to get into law enforcement, and he actually pointed me towards Lehi. I think the biggest thing that I've seen in Lehi is just the growth and the change due to the growth. Society-wise, I think the biggest change that I've seen is just social media and how fast information gets out. We have to be prepared to get accurate information out as quick as we can and inform the community as to things that are happening and how they can be safe or how they can react to it. When I started in 94, there were 10 officers in Lehi, and they hired 2 of us in 94, Lieutenant Toby Peterson and myself. He was number 11 and I was number 12. We're now up to 67 full-time officers.
What's it like to lead 67 police officers? I mean, is that an easy task? Do they all have their own opinions?
It would be overwhelming for one person to lead that many people, but we're structured in a paramilitary way. Property crimes, special victim crimes, and school resource officers, and code enforcement. And then that division is also led by a lieutenant that reports to me. And so we'll spend time talking about caseload, maybe active cases.
Well, so tell me then, obviously the police department is part of the community, right? And so how do you work with the community?
So we have a presence in the schools. We are in the high schools and middle schools with our school resource officers. They're dedicated officers that spend their workday there, and they work with school administrators to deal with basically any kind of school problem that might come up that's officer or police related. We host a citizen academy every year, and that's an 8-week course where we invite citizens of Lehi to come in and experience a little bit of what it's like to be a police officer. So any kind of social outreach or community event that we can be a part of, we love to do it. It's a unique opportunity to see from an officer's perspective what goes on. We have a lot of different protocols. When something as serious as a school lockdown happens, it involves all of us.
I think people really like that neighborly part of, where police are really kind of part of the community and trying to, hey, we're side by side. We live here.
And I think what makes Lehi unique is it's a growing city, but it still has a small town community feel. We recently started a online reporting system where people can report things online and start the process of a police report. And they can just go to the city website and link to the police department and file a report that way.
Okay.
And then we have an officer that is assigned to those for any kind of follow-up. And sometimes that's a little quicker than waiting for an officer to be available to... obviously our biggest concern is safety of the citizens. And so we're doing some different things. Like this year, for example, we just started a motors program.
Okay.
Started at the end of last summer and then getting it going again this year with an additional officer. But these motorcycle officers will have the ability to circumvent some of the traffic, the congested areas. This last year, we took 41,000 calls for service.
Okay.
And not every call is an emergency call. Not every call is a high priority, where somebody is in danger. But 41,000 calls of all sorts. Because of the community and because of the relationship that we have here, it's still a very safe place that we have somehow developed a relationship with them from a very early age. And so they seem to understand the community, the cultural values, and the kind of culture that we have at the police department. And so we look for those kids. But when we can find a local kid that's grown up here, that's invested in the community, that has family here, it's usually a really good match. In fact, we recently teamed up with all of the state chiefs in Utah and did a recruitment campaign nationwide, trying to draw more people into the state of Utah to specifically get into law enforcement and stuff. I think that's, again, where Lehi was a little bit unique because we felt an overwhelming feeling of support from our community, but our local community rallied around the officers and really showed their support We're very fortunate here. We have fantastic officers, and they really do work hard to maintain that relationship with the community.
That's great.
You have to be 21 to enter the academy. We would invite them on some ride-alongs so that they kind of get a feel for what the officers see, get a feel for what it is, what law enforcement is, and at the same time understand what our culture is in our PD and our emphasis on community policing and stuff like that. We also offer benefits as far our health benefits and our other things that the city provides are I would say better than most. And then our facilities that we have to develop. So the whole package, I think, makes Lehi a pretty attractive place to work. And so the whole package is a really nice officer wellness package that I think Lehi provides. And when we're called to an emergency, and it can be just about anything, when at the end of the day, when we're able to protect somebody and the officers all go home safe, then, I would consider that a win. And so we've had brushes with tragedy for sure, but yeah, we've been able to learn from those things and hopefully make the community safer for everybody. Yeah, so there's a lot of different ways. The technology has also made it to where we're responding faster. So we might be at a crime in progress quicker than we would have otherwise. Whereas in the old days when I started, we would get there after the fact.
Which there is life beyond law enforcement. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Early in my career, I was involved in the Major Crimes Task Force in the county, and we did a lot of taking down clandestine meth labs.
Oh, really?
And there was a lot of hazardous chemicals and things like that. Just learning and adapting with technology to make everyone's job safer.
Which obviously that's the goal, right?
When I first started, the fire department was a volunteer fire department. Great guys. And as the city has grown, they've grown into a full-time fire and paramedic. I've been in Lehi now 31 years, and I've loved my time here.
It is a safe city. It feels safe to me, and I know my kids have a good relationship with the police, which is nice.
We have a lot of youth groups that come and tour the building. We have inside of our building, we're very fortunate, we have a virtual use of force simulator, and it's actually owned by all of Utah County law enforcement collectively. But we house it here in Lehi because we have room for it. And it's a great opportunity for people to just see how fast officers have to make split-second decisions.
Sure. So, life or death sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? And so if a youth group wants to go and tour and get a kind of a, just for an hour-long night youth group, they would just contact the police department?
Yeah.